You walk into a social interaction feeling fully charged, but 30 minutes later, you leave feeling as though your internal battery has hit zero. This exhaustion is a measurable physical state. Clinical psychology describes this specific drop in energy as a prefrontal cortex brownout, a temporary depletion of the brain's executive functioning center caused by sustained social overexertion. This diagram shows the mechanism of mirror neuron fatigue. These cells are designed to help us empathize by simulating the emotions of others, but it means your neural pathways are physically lighting up with the exact same stress signals as the speaker. In a healthy relationship, this energy is replenished through mutual support. But when there is zero emotional reciprocity, your nervous system is left to process the speaker's stress alone, creating a severe deficit. Healthy emotional venting is a two-way partnership where both parties are heard. By contrast, emotional dumping is a one-sided pathology where the listener is used as a repository for the speaker's unprocessed cortisol. Psychologists identify this drain through 6 clinical warning signs. First, they hijack every conversation to focus on their own experiences. Second, they disappear when life is good, only flooding your phone during a personal crisis. Third, they engage in chronic venting, sharing identical problems week after week while rejecting every solution offered. The remaining signs are internal. Fourth, they lack emotional reciprocity, minimizing or dismissing your feelings when you try to share. Fifth, they display a high conflict orientation, manufacturing drama in every social situation. Finally, your body recognizes the vampire before your conscious mind does, leaving you physically heavy and needing recovery time after every interaction. When these 6 criteria are met, the relationship has ceased to be a genuine connection and is instead functioning as a one-way emergency hotline. These sources of emotional drain usually fit into 3 distinct archetypes: the crisis junkie, who treats you like an unpaid therapist, the competitive sufferer, who meets your pain with a more dramatic story, and the interrupting pivot, who cannot hold space for any emotion that isn't their own. All 3 are driven by what sociologist Charles Derber calls conversational narcissism. This isn't always intentional selfishness, but rather an intense craving for validation that prevents the brain from holding space for anyone else. A healthy listener uses the support response, expanding your topic and holding space. But the narcissist uses the shift response, redirecting the spotlight. Mention your promotion, and they bridge to their own drama, pushing your experience completely off the table. The continuous deployment of the shift response harvests the listener's conversational space, resulting in a total transfer of emotional energy from you to them. If this interaction is a measurable biological drain, why does the listener stay? The trap is set by our internal schemas. These are mental frameworks that tell us what a good friend should look like. Most of us have a schema that values being loyal, accommodating, and supportive above our own well-being. This creates a psychological conflict. When the reality of their toxic behavior collides with your internal schema of loyalty, it feels easier to ignore the red flags than to admit the friendship is one-sided. This is where confirmation bias acts as a filter. Your brain selectively highlights the rare, positive moments of the friendship while blurring out the massive cluster of negative, draining events. Because these cognitive biases trick us into believing we are simply being a good friend, we remain trapped in a cycle of unreciprocated energy expenditure. Reclaiming your energy begins by identifying the autonomy gap, the specific space where you are sacrificing your peace to regulate someone else's nervous system. The treatment is cognitive reappraisal. You have to actively dismantle the distorted friendship schema that tells you your exhaustion is the price of loyalty. This requires a mental reframe. You have to stop viewing your boundaries as abandoning a friend in need and start seeing them for what they are, stopping the enablement of chronic emotional dumping. Rewriting this internal cognitive code is the prerequisite for change. Without it, the pressure of guilt will cause any external boundaries to fail. The goal is to move away from the chaos of high-conflict drama and back toward a steady, healthy emotional baseline. You begin by quietly and consistently pulling back your emotional availability. It's not cruel. It's taking back control by refusing constant access to your energy. When they attempt to use a shift response, do not follow it with a support response. By staying boring and opaque, you effectively starve the interaction of the validation they are seeking. Finally, remain unapologetically unavailable during their manufactured crises. Your nervous system is no longer their emergency hotline. Protecting yourself from unreciprocated transactions isn't a betrayal of the relationship. It is the necessary regulation required to move out of survival mode and protect your peace.